Hey everybody, they've really done it this time, outdone themselves with this layering die that is a Highland Cow. I love it so much, so I'm going to show you how to make it. I'm going to watercolor all the pieces, and what I've done is I've arranged them by light, dark, and medium, just in little groupings on my mat so I know what I'm painting with my darker colors, what I'm painting with my kind of medium colors, and what I'm painting with my lightest colors. That just helps me when I'm working with these layering dies so that I don't choose the wrong tonal value for something that I'm painting, especially with watercolor. That makes a big difference because everything dries a little bit lighter than it goes on. And so I want to make sure that I'm thinking about it because I tend to kind of zone out when I'm painting. So if I just arrange them the right way, then I can maybe not make a mistake if possible. So I'm painting the hooves and the eyes black. And those are just little tiny pieces. So if you want to put them on a sticky mat, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just leave them on your glass mat if you're feeling brave and you're not going to lose one of the small pieces. Now for the cow, I am going to, for most of the body and all the furry parts, I'm going to use a granulating pigment. And the granulating pigment is going to have all that nice variation in it. It's going to have some little gritty pieces to it. This is one of my favorite Daniel Smith colors. And it will also settle into those detailed debossed markings that come from the die, as you can see. So one thing that's kind of unique about a granulating watercolor is exactly that. It's creating its own texture on the flat parts, but it's also that texture is settling in to those marks and accentuating them. And he really ends up looking furry by the time this is over with. And you can check out my Daniel Smith group on Facebook. I split up tubes of watercolor so they're more affordable. And I have some splits ready right now. I'm not sure which ones. I haven't done new ones in a little while, but I still do have some available. But I love granulating colors for this. So here I'm just pausing I took a picture of the layering guide. I'm just looking at it with my phone to remember what color I needed to do this. And this is the lighter color because this is the horns. So I'm doing kind of a yellowish neutral cow horns. If you've ever seen any cattle in real life, they have kind of a yellowish tint to them. Now I will do the base part of his face, and like a lot of these layering dies that I love so much for creatures, the debossed areas outline and show you where the smaller pieces fit into the die. So as I'm building up the face, I can see where the snout goes, I can see where the eyes go, all of that. Now this is the little curly forelock that I just painted, and I end up going a little bit darker on this because after I put the cow together, it was a little bit too light, I thought. Now the little snout that I just pushed up there, I painted the same color as the horns, and I'm going to add kind of a pinkish tone to that as soon as that is dry. Now these are the tail and the legs, both of which are backwards in space from the main body of the cow. So I need to go really dark with them to make them look farther away from your eye and in shadow from the body of the cow. So I'm actually using the same color that I used on the fur, but I'm just using less water and more pigment to make these a little bit darker. So the tail is so cute too because it looks like it's kind of blowing in the wind. These are just the cutest cows in the world, and bulls. I'm just saying cow because that's the word I picked. So don't go all crazy on me about bulls and cows. I'm just using a word. It's okay. So I just have a couple smaller cups of water here. One of the things I like about Daniel Smith the best is how clean the water stays. There are some pigments that you can use, watercolor pigments that you can use, that just the second you put your brush in the water is dirty and you have to change it. I love Daniel Smith for a lot of reasons, but I really love it for this reason. So I'm just kind of cleaning up my glass mat. I like to do that when I'm watercoloring because if I go back and touch something up and my brush is wet, then I might contaminate something that I've already painted. Now I'm going to dry a couple of these because this actually was a really fast painting process. Normally things are naturally drying while I'm stamping or putting things together, but this is a very quick dye to paint and put together. So I want to make sure that it's dry before I start gluing it together. So I glue his body, his little forelock, which again, I'm going to come back and touch up a little bit and make darker. And then I'm not going to dry these little tiny eyes. That's why I painted them first, because I want to not have them fly into the universe with the heat gun. So I'll use my little katana to pick these up and place them on the face. And again, you can see the little lines where everything's supposed to go. It really makes these snap. On these smaller pieces, I like to put the glue down on the base layer and then pick up the smaller item and put it on there instead of the other way around. It's too hard to try to get glue on the back of one of these small pieces. You can do it with the precision glue press, but I prefer to just put it in the space where the smaller item is going to go. So now the face looks good here, but you're going to see what I'm talking about, how it needs to be a little bit darker when it gets put onto the body of the cow, because you'll just see it doesn't really fit in. It doesn't mesh with the rest of the fur. So you're going to see what I mean. Now this is the base of the face. So the piece that I've already assembled is going to go on top of this. And that is what makes the horns come out behind the little face. So I'm just going to add some more glue. And then I will put the assembled face onto this. Now, if anything is wet, if you're using watercolor paper and it's curling a little bit, just grab your magnets and pop them on top of your glass mat, and that'll flatten it out while the pieces are drying, while the glue is drying on the pieces. You don't want to do it when there's wet watercolor on there because that will give you some hard edges. So now I will put the little face on, and you're going to be able to see how that's just too light and too bright. So I'll go touch that up before I finish the card. I'm just going to add some of the regular fur color to it, and you'll see it in the finished card. So now you can see how these fit together like a puzzle, the legs, and see how it just fits right into that die cut. It's just amazing. They're so well designed. So I'll do this when I go to put it on the card because they fit snugly into those little pieces. So I need it to be on the card to glue that down, but I can glue the hooves on now. And it's real obvious which hoof goes with which leg. So you're going to see that very clearly here in just a second, how they all go together. It's just obvious because each of the feet are different sizes and different shapes on the bottom, and the bottoms line up perfectly. So you will not have any trouble doing that. Oops, I lost a little hoof there. So I will put the other back leg. Sorry that my cow appears dismembered. Now, it's going to be fine in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. And then I will put that last one on and kind of snuggle that up together. And here you can see it in the finished product, and you can see that granulation that I'm talking about. Really, really fun with this particular kind of watercolor. So see the description below for links and other information. And thanks so much for watching.